Okay.
My mother and father were divorced. So I moved to New York. He lived there, actually. That's why I went there. So I lived with him. Then I got involved in all this.
So why didn't you graduate high school?
I never liked school. I was always a street person. My mother never brought me up like that. She brought me up the right way.
So that's why you left.
I
So
love the action. I love excitement. I love the action. That was just me. I would say, Mom, I'm going to school in the morning. Okay, she'd go to work. My friend would come over, the bus right in front of the house. We get on the bus, go to school, get off the school bus and go right to the city bus and come back home. That's what I did. I didn't like school.
You were a bad kid.
I was a bad boy.
So what's your life like now? Okay, so you're out, you're living in the Carolinas, you're trying to like distance yourself from the wild past. What do you do? What's the day-to-day like operation for you?
I make pizzas now. I made pizzas all my life.
I bet you make good pizzas.
I do.
What I would give to taste.
So anyway, I'm working at a place here. I've been there about 3 years now, making pizzas. They're happy. They got an Italian on the line, you know.
I was gonna say, I bet you have a good reputation. They were that's the real pizza.
But I would like to, you know, since I got away from all this, I would like to open my own place here, you know. But
so movies, how did you get into that? Like you don't.
It's just I know I have a lot of friends, a lot of family, and everybody in New York. They're so close together. You know, I don't want to mention no names. I got a lot of actor and actresses friends from New York.
Okay, so you're like, hey, I want to make a movie.
That's how I got.
They networked down. They're like, oh, we'll go to.
I'm not gonna lie. This is my first film here. You know.
Right.
But so far it's good, and we didn't even film yet.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are these little clips that you're sending around?
I make my own little clips.
So you're acting
on my Facebook page or the group page, you'll see them.
Oh, that's okay. I did see that. Okay, now I see what you're talking about.
It was good. It wasn't. It was. I wouldn't post stuff that looks stupid.
No, it was good. Okay, so that's how the little teasers have gotten out there.
Yeah. It just blew up. I swear, I got people from Italy. This morning, somebody wanted to post something on the group page from UK, another actress, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. I guess all the promoting, I promoted this to the top.
Well, we do like a good mob movie. Like you saw the other guys I had on my show a few weeks ago, and they're working on something. I like this because you could live it. So I really, you know, that makes it really exciting that you lived it.
I'm a nobody. I admit it. I'm not a John Gotti or one of them guys. You know, nobody wants to see me, my life story. That's why we changed it and made it fictional. You know what I mean?
So, okay, so you got the guy that wrote the screenplay. Is that the same guy that's directing it?
No, that was just the CIA guy.
That was the CIA guy who wrote the screenplay. Oh, so he wrote that book that's already out there, and he wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, that's his book. Yeah, that's about his life. And he wrote like everything that happened in prison.
Oh, I understand that he wrote that book, but who wrote the screenplay for the movie?
Shay Evans.
Shay Evans. And is he directing it, or he just wrote the screenplay?
She.
Is she directing it, or
she's directing it?
Okay, so she did the whole
thing. She's gonna be a lead actor, and she wrote the script.
Oh, so she's gonna
the script is already done. It's amazing.
So she's directing, starring, and
yes,
perfect. Yes. So how did you get involved with her?
I met her through here on Facebook. All I was doing to promote myself. I wanted to make this movie so bad, and people started reaching out to me.
So how'd you choose her to do such a big role, to do all three roles?
She's very big in theater. She writes beautiful. The script is unbelievable.
She should be on here. We need to get hooked up with her.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell her about you. I told her that we were doing this, but yeah, she should be on here too.
That's cool that she got really involved in that. You guys clicked, because that's a big responsibility. I mean,
it is, and we've been doing this. It's been going on for about almost a year now. We've been working really hard, putting together the crew. The script is finally done. It was done maybe last month. She put a lot of work into it.
I that's a lot. It's almost like a marriage. It's a work, what they call it,
Yeah.
the work marriage, where you did all that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You know yourself.
So she's in theater. Is this her first screenplay for a movie or for her first feature
No,
film?
she written a lot of scripts also. But when I met her and started talking to her, we just clicked.
I love it. And I love that you chose a woman to do it all.
So I had asked her if she would play my wife in the movie, Miss Solano. That's going to be our last name. I'm Joey Solano, and she's Angelina Solano.
So were you married in real life when you got arrested?
I wasn't married. I was living with somebody for a long time. It was like we were married, but not on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm assuming you're not together anymore.
no, but now back to the Carolina part. I met a Carolina woman. Now I'm from New York. I got married here.
So that's how you got, okay. So you met her in New York?
No, I'm here. I met her here. I came down here when I got out of, oh, you don't know this part. When I got out of prison, I came down here. My mother lives here for 15 years. I'm the only child.
You finally went back to your mom.
Yeah. So I said, you know, I don't want to go back to New York because I'm going to get right back into it. She says, come here, take care of me for a little while. She's in her late 70s. So I did. Got a job. While I was with her, I was in the halfway house. I got a job, got out of the halfway house early. You know, got a job, met my wife. We bought a beautiful house. You know, everything, it's just changed.
How'd you meet her?
I met my wife online.
Well, so the first date, was it like, hey, I just got out of prison? How does that go?
I was very honest. Yeah.
I have a feeling you were.
I told her that. I said, listen, I said, I just got out of prison. Her face went, she thought I was going to say I murdered somebody or something. I said, no. I told her what happened. I said, you know, if you want to be with me, you be with me. If you don't, I'm just being honest with you because you're going to find out somehow. So she stuck with me, and we've been together for a while now.
How does she feel about the movie and you meeting people online and bringing in a female director and all this stuff? How does she feel?
Gets a little aggravated. I mean, anybody would. I would too if it was vice versa.
Right.
But it's nothing. Nothing's gonna happen. This is the movies.
This is the movies.
You know, I'm legit.
And getting a budget together to pay everybody, how did that go about? Because if you've never done this, did Shea help you a lot with that?
No, she's doing her part. They didn't find everything when they arrested me.
Oh, so you got a little chunk change to fund it.
I don't know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's cool. You have this all plotted out. I'm really excited to see how this goes.
But it really took off. I can't believe it. Especially this morning when that lady from the UK messaged me. I was like, where are you from? How'd you hear about me? On the Facebook.
Are you on Instagram too?
Yeah.
And Twitter?
No, I just started that Instagram. I don't know how to work that stuff, you know.
We gotta get you on everything. We gotta get you on Twitter too.
Yeah.
So what's the name of this movie then?
New York Ties.
New York Ties. And the other guy's book was Surviving and Thriving in Prison. And then this is New York
How I
Ties.
Survived and Thrived in Prison.
And that's like a compilation of about 10 guys' stories.
Yeah. See, I was the guy that everybody came to in prison. That's what he wrote in the book. Whatever they asked me to do, I would do. That was my part in prison. I mean, no funny stuff. I mean, like, take care of this, you know, make sure this guy don't come over here. And it was crazy.
What was your nickname?
I look very young all the time, so they call me Joey the Kid in prison. Yeah, it's crazy. They gave me that name. But
so how much of the movie is going to be true?
I would say almost half. All of it's going to be true, except the killing and stuff. I didn't do that, you know. But you got to put that in there. You know.
Yeah. Do you still talk to him a lot, the CIA guy?
I do. I'm trying to get him down here while we film, but he's very busy. He's always on CNN News, and He's a celebrity himself.
And he just went to, how long did he do for the
He did 3
waterboarding?
years in prison, which I don't think he should have been.
That's horrible. Just because he was talking about waterboarding.
Yeah.
He revealed like secrets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't even know that was a federal crime.
Yeah. You can't do it. I don't know.
So who are some of the other people that you met while you were in there? Any famous people that we know?
Well, I don't know if I should say his name. He's a old timer from New York.
Well, if we know he went to prison, it's not really a secret.
Nicky Carrazzo. He was the big Gambino boss. After John Gotti died, he took over for him.
Is he still there?
No, he just got out last summer, but that's the one who took me in. As soon as I got off that bus.
I love that.
Crazy.
Who were some of the people that you met when you were doing all the things you were doing? You don't have to say anything that's going to be bad, but I'm assuming when you're in that lifestyle, just being out and about, that you met some people.
Well, no, they were all away. I was my own person now, and I had my own crew. That's how it works.
I was just talking about like celebrities and such. Like, I'm sure that you just going to the parties and going to different things, you ran into a lot of people. In
the casinos, yeah. Wesley Snipes was there. I don't know, a lot of I can't even remember, but there was a lot of them. And while I was in the casino, I don't know how this happened. This is the honest to God's truth. You had to be there to see this. I Bible. This is the truth. What I'm gonna say. A lot of people say when you go to the casino, you lose your shirt. I didn't. First time ever, I went on that roulette wheel, and I would play 12 numbers, and the numbers would be scattered on the wheel. I would hit and hit and hit. And I had 2 friends with me, Linda and Mary Jo. They were like my good luck charms. And for a whole year, they saved all my tickets. I didn't know how much I was winning. I didn't know. Because all the other stuff I was doing, I didn't care. I had so much money back then. So she had a stack of tickets. She says, I'm going to count these. Said, okay. So she calls me up. She goes, do you know how much money you won in that 1 year? I said, what? She says, you won $88,000. I said, that's impossible. No way. They were my tickets. And thank God she had those tickets, because when the feds came to me, they were wondering where I got all this money. I gave them the tickets. Here, I won $88,000 at the casino, and that helped me out a lot.
So you never go back?
To the casino? I haven't been back since. But I do go online sometimes and mess around with the wheel, and my numbers are still popping.
Are you afraid to go back to the casino?
I'm not afraid of nothing. That's my problem. That was my whole problem.
Well, I'm saying to try to stay out of. You're afraid of yourself. Like you might just get right back into like a life of just that fast pace.
No. My wife keeps me in line.
This is such a great story. I'm so glad that
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
What's some advice you have for anybody watching today?
Just whatever dreams you want to do, you can do it, because my dream is really coming true. A lot of people probably still, a lot of haters out there, they have haters. So I don't care what they say. I know, I could see, I would not make a fool of myself. I would not do this for this long if I didn't know something. I do know. And a lot of people get in touch with me. I have a lot of actors and actresses from New York that I know. They talk to me every day and tell me, this thing you're doing, Joe, they're getting jealous themselves because what's happening here.
How come you didn't put them in there? Your friends.
I'm just doing my own thing here. I got a whole cast. I only got 2 people, one from Jersey and New York, and the rest are from here. And the funny thing about it is I didn't reach out to nobody. They reached out to me, these actors and actresses.
Well, thank you so much, Joey. We're going to keep up with what you're doing on Facebook and on Instagram. What is your Instagram handle, by the way?
It's my name, Joseph Casalo.
Okay. And the same with Facebook. So we're all going to follow you and see what you're up to. And we can all join the group, right? It's called New York Family Ties.
Just New York Ties.
New York Ties.
Yeah, you're on it already.
Oh, no, I said family. I'm thinking of the show or something. I was just telling the public that they can go on it. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Chad. Chad, so tell us what you do, because you're an expert in your field. And I didn't even know you could be an expert. Like, you're almost like PhD level, right?
Expert? I don't know. You got the right guy here? No. No, expert. No, that's kind of a big word. Or I don't know if there's any experts in what I do. I'm a paranormal researcher. Been doing it for 24 years, and last 15 years I specialize in what is considered to be dark or diabolical cases, demonic cases. So yeah, and no, I don't think I'm completely insane. So, no dead cats.
What got you into this line of work? I'm sure you get that all the time.
Yeah, I'm somebody that doesn't really believe in anything unless I actually see it, not only see it, but a lot of evidence of it. And I remember I was 16 years old and I was working in this store. This is really what happened. This is what got it all going. It's not really that glamorous, but it's kind of an interesting story. I worked in a store that was built on top of a cemetery. That sounds like something out of a horror movie, but it really was.
I love that.
And yeah, I was locked in this store between 11 o'clock at night till 3 o'clock in the morning till the freight crew came and let me out. And during that ordeal, I witnessed some stuff that I really couldn't explain. So I got kind of curious about it, and that's what sparked the whole thing. And plus, I had a family member that was really close to me that had an experience with something paranormal, and they had they developed a phobia of being by themselves. And I often wondered, what scared them so bad that it impacted them that much. So those are pretty much the two things that got me going on it. They just kind of went from there. Developed a team back before anybody ever did it, back before the TV shows. It used to be a taboo thing. I wouldn't even tell people that I did this.
I can understand.
Yeah, right. But now, since the TV shows, people are like, "Oh, you're a paranormal investigator. It's really cool." Well, yeah. It used to not be quite so accepted, though.
So you went into it, but you actually studied it hardcore, and when.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
you studied it, and. What did you go to school for?
I didn't go to school. I don't have a college degree in anything. If that's what you're asking. Where
did you study paranormal though? When you actually studied it, was it just going into the field, or was it really
for that stuff now? Well, what I did is I decided to take a different approach with everything. I wanted to go out and document what was out there, if anything, and present what I documented as in raw form, and let people decide for themselves, come up with their own opinion. So I really don't. My opinion. Yeah.
What did you have a background in though? Did you have a background in filming or anything? So were you going out and doing all this research? I mean, you must have had to learn a lot about not just paranormal, but camera work, lighting, how to figure out how to even document it.
I've had equipment and had camera guys, but not, anything professional. Mainly just for documentation.
I'm saying that's just a lot to learn in of itself, especially 24 years ago, and we didn't have our phones like documentary. I mean, you must have had to get it like a crash course education. And now, what do I need to do? What I want to do, and that's a lot.
I remember my first camera was a 5 megapixel HP camera, and I'm just killing this moth, keeps flying back and forth, you know. So it's not like an orb or anything. I saw it on the film. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah,
we're hoping it was a ghost.
You had to have a 5 megapixel camera for it to be authentic, or a legitimate photograph that people could study and see if it was tampered with or anything like that. So it had to be 5 megapixels. So I remember getting the 5 megapixel camera, and now they have like, you know, 150 megapixel or more. Just basic equipment is what I had. But what was amazing is that, like, it was, you know, it's not the equipment that captures the actual footage or the evidence. It's the type of cases you do and how long that you'll stick in there and hang around, you know, because some of these cases are pretty, I don't know, I find them interesting, but some people find them, you know, different. I can't hardly have keep a team together, because people, you know, they'll go with me a couple times and they'll quit. And then it's a controversial subject, you know, so many things to talk about. But anyhow, no, I didn't study anything about filming. I just kind of, you know, just winged it. And I have a guy that's been doing it with me for years. He's usually the camera guy, but he kind of had a bad experience with this, you know, there's a couple cases ago. So he's a little bit spooky about going out.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, this is exciting. Don't leave us hanging. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the stuff that you have seen and like what you saw when you were working in that building over the cemetery that made you and what your family experienced.
Just, you know, a few weird things, like I remember things would move around, like on the shelves. Like I'd hear them. I'd be on one aisle and I'd hear stuff fall off the next aisle, and it sounded like somebody walking up and down the aisles. And I heard voices.
And you were the only one there.
I was the only one there, yeah. And you know, and of course, it started a creepy atmosphere because it was dark. All the lights were off, and it had old coolers that they were like water, like swamp coolers, and you could hear the fans hitting the water. So there was always like noise going on. But I remember specifically one night something yelled in my ear, and that's what really like got me. I mean, that really did it for me. I was like, you know what? There's something to this haunted stuff. You know, that there's something out there.
Why did you keep going back by yourself? I mean, I know you might be curious, but why did you keep going back by yourself? Well, did you not say, I need somebody else here too?
I didn't really have a choice. Well, I had a choice, but I didn't have a choice. So yeah, and it sucked, you know. I mean, I was scared of the dark as a kid, man. That's scary, you know. Traumatic.
You know what's funny is I used to try to scare myself when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
In the dark. Yeah, I used to be in the dark. People would like pass by the closet and I'd be going boo to myself. Boo. I was trying to always scare myself. One of those. So the dark didn't really scare me. So, but I mean, as a kid, I mean, now, I mean, I don't know. But that would have scared me, hearing something and no one being around. I mean,
it sounded like a woman like talking to me. Well, first it said, hey, like that. And I was in the back room of the store, and I turned around and there's nobody there. And I thought it was a buddy of mine that snuck into the store, the produce manager, because it sounded kind of like her. And I was like, oh, it's just Amanda trying to play prank on me, you know. So I kind of tried to keep my cool, you know. And turned around and then I heard it again. And I turned around, there's nobody there. And I'm like, hey, knock it off, Amanda, you know, because that's who I thought it was. And then all of a sudden it yelled, hey, right in my ear. And I was like, that's it, man. I'm out of here. You know.
Did you ever talk back to the ghosts? You ever talk to them?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do. Well, now I do. It's a lot of things I deal with aren't nice. So a lot of the communication I do is more of a harassment kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there's stuff out there that is nightmarish, and you know, I know there's people that are skeptical to that, but a lot of, I mean, if anybody wants to find out, you know, they can always come out with me. You know, I'm, you know, that's always open. I don't like doing that, but they're always curious about it.
What did your family member experience? You said you had a family member that experienced something close.
You know, I'm not really sure exactly. I've only got a couple details out of them, but basically there's certain types of phenomena that go along with a more dark or diabolical type haunting, and some people, some people write it off to science or a physical phenomenon, sleep paralysis. You've probably heard of that, where you wake up and you can't move, and but you're conscious. You're not really sleeping,
Right.
and you've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
People experience this phenomenon when they're in that state. And one of the things that they used to experience is they were living in a place that was known to be haunted, first of all. And every night around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or every other night, she would fall into the sleep paralysis, and she would hear footsteps coming towards her bed, which there's carpet on the floor. There's no wood floor, but it sounded like wood floor. And she could feel the weight of something crawling up onto the bed on top of her. And it's that type of phenomenon. It's quite common, actually.
And it was reoccurring every night, or just a couple times?
It was every other night. It was always when her husband would leave, and she was afraid to fall asleep. There's several different ways that intelligent entities will try to break you down or harm you, and one of them is they try to make you sleep, or they try to deprive you of your sleep, because you have a less of an ability to consciously fight back. There are things that try to possess you out there, and it's not just for movies. I mean, I've seen cases of real demonic possession, and it's insane. I've seen things that if I hadn't recorded them on video and documented, I wouldn't have believed what I was witnessing.
Yeah, I mean, I had actually a couple months ago, I had a pastor that was called the Demon Hunter, that he went around and found a lot of stuff. So I don't disbelieve anything. I'm open to that everything's possible. But what I want to ask you is it only when you're in certain places, do you ever have like a demon that you've seen out doing that, and then at your house it's there, or is it only when you're in these places?
Follow me back? Yeah, I've had things try to follow me back. Most definitely. I've had a lot of different phenomena. It's something that if things get mad at you, it sounds crazy, but they can make your life a living hell, no pun intended. See, I'm not religious. I don't go to church. Everything I like to do is lewd, immoral, But because of what I've witnessed and seen, like just the cases of possession I witnessed, there were these several entities that were in this one individual, and they were taking turns talking through this person, and some of the things that they said, they were talking about God, but they weren't using the name God because they're not able to. It is what it is, but there's definitely something out there, and it's not the spirit of Aunt Susie or whatever, or Casper the Friendly Ghost, or something else out there. I guarantee it. Is
there ever anything nice and friendly? Is anybody is it ever like the Sixth Sense, where somebody's just trying to find somebody and tell them a message?
Here's the controversial part right here. Like, if there's evidence of that, I would say yeah. But there's things out there that pretend to be things that are not. They mimic whatever scenario it takes. Like if they're trying to, if somebody's trying to harm somebody, it'll do whatever it takes to be successful. Like if somebody just lost a loved one, it'll mimic them.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask you. Has that ever happened to you, where somebody that died?
No. Well, yeah. Actually, it has. My father, he passed away about 6 months ago, and I remember there's something that happened the night he died, and I didn't know he had even died. Something my dad used to do to me when I was a kid. He used to pat me on the back and kiss my cheek. Well, I haven't thought about that for a long time, and all of a sudden, felt this same thing crawl up on the bed, and it was very vivid, patting me on the back and kissed my cheek. But that was the night my dad died. It wasn't my dad, but yeah.
How do you know it wasn't? How do you know it wasn't your dad? How do you know that they aren't nice?
Because there's always a sinister undertone with something like that. There's always, like, it was not in a comforting way. It was in like a forceful, just not normal. There's things out there are the master of psychological warfare, and they know what bothers each and every one of us. Crazy. Yeah, I mean.
So you're not a medium at all. Do you believe in when mediums have that? Because a lot of times mediums, they are more friendly interaction. Is that something completely different?
I believe that exists, but there's also a lot of scammers out there. I don't think that I don't use mediums in my investigations. But myself, no, I'm not sensitive at all. I mean, I can't sense anything. We all have kind of an instinct for that kind of stuff, you know. We all get.
So nobody's talking to you unless you kind of chase it, kind of.
Right.
You don't have the gift of being a medium. You know, no one's trying to. Right, because you're going to these places. So what was some
talking about you just run into these things? Is that what you're saying? Like, unless you go looking for it?
Yeah, I was wondering if that
most people, yeah. There are some things that people can do that'll definitely are dangerous, that will bring open up doors, but that's, you know, that's a different topic there, you know.
But can they ever help you? Like, I mean,
they can appear to be helpful, but here's, in every case, believe it or not, and I've done hundreds, if not thousands of them, whatever starts off acting like it has good intentions, it always ends up in a sinister type. It always has a sinister undertone. And that's why it's scary. That's why haunted house. That's why they make horror movies about it. It's not a pleasant thing. I don't think it's deceased loved ones doing it. I'm not saying that there's not a place where people go when they die. I don't know, but I don't think it's right here. I think that whatever's here, it doesn't have good intentions.
Can they kill us? Should we actually be worried? Are you in fear of your life when you do these things? Do you think they can actually kill us, or is it just tempting?
I've had a lot of threats, you know, like I have this folder that's all the threats by name. It'll say my name and what it wants to do. There have been documented cases claiming that these things have killed people, but you know, it's very rare. And there's some things that happen, like case in point, there's some kind of law, like a legal right, that these entities have, that they can't cross certain lines unless they're invited. And because in the cases of possession, the first thing that these things said to me was, I have the legal right to be here. This person was offered as my vessel, blah, blah, blah. Like they talk about the legal right. So I think that if they could kill people, they would be doing it a lot.
Well, what about demon possession? You know, they take over a body. Do you ever worry that that's going to happen to you? Have you seen any of that, or not necessarily?
Yes, I have. I have seen it. That's what I'm talking about, is when this person was possessed. They were possessed by multiple entities, and these things were talking through them, and not just talking, but the person was doing physically impossible things. Every time that an entity would stop talking, it's like they were playing tag team. Like one would stop talking, and the person would go limp, like they were just lifeless. And then all of a sudden they start becoming animated again, and then there'd be another one talking, but the eye color would change.
So how did you come across this person? Did someone say, "Hey, this guy knows demons"? Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an exorcist. I don't deal with that crap normal, you know.
And they brought him to your house?
Oh yeah, I just left him there. Yep. Yeah, right.
Oh my!
You want to be a paranormal investigator? They said it'd be fun. They said, no, it was the most insane thing I've ever seen. One of them, anyway. This person would change. I mean, depending upon what spirit was talking through them, their eye color would change. Their whole physical appearance would change, and it was just insane. At one point, they levitated. At one point, so
did you record any of this?
You know, I didn't have time. I went and got my dad. It's an interesting memory of my dad's, because this person was dropped off, and I go to get my dad because I had weapons in the house, and knives, guns, whatever. And I didn't know if this person can go for those weapons and, you know, try to do harm. So I'm like, hey, Dad, I need you to do me a favor. I go, you just come over here with me, and I'm going to hand you out everything that can possibly, you know, it can use either shoot or stab me in the face. I told him that we have a possession. He's like, oh, you know, they're probably on drugs. I'm like, no, Dad, they're possessed. So whatever you do, don't talk to it, okay?
Your dad was there, and your dad saw this.
He saw it, yeah, for a few seconds. And what he did is he talked about that from then on. He said that it's the most bizarre. He said it was the most bizarre thing he'd ever seen. Just for the few seconds he saw it.
So do you go to a lot of places when people say, I think that there's paranormal activity here, and you kind of like an ambulance chaser for paranormal activity?
Well, if they get a hold of me, you know, some people get a hold of me and say, hey, I got this going on. And if it's, you know, there are dangers, you know, these entities they are dangerous to an extent. as far as the taking your life goes, back to that, there's a case, the Emily Michelle or Michael, the famous case that the Emily Rose
Emily
story.
Rose, yeah, okay.
The true case, I don't know if you've ever looked that up, but
I watched the movie.
well, actually, the movie's pretty close.
Okay.
The girl died. She actually did die from malnutrition, but there was a lot of factors there, and you know, I just actually watched that movie not too long ago, and I know a lot about the real case, and I was like, well, that's pretty accurate. It's a different time era. It was based. This was in like the 60s or
right.
Something. And then, of course, you know, there's the notorious exorcism, the case the exorcism was based on, and except it was a boy, not a girl. But yeah, there's one other recorded case where spirit killed somebody. It's the famous Bell Witch case where supposedly this thing poisoned somebody. But those are the only cases that are supposedly recorded. I think it's possible, though. Yeah, definitely.
But so you go to these places when somebody says there's paranormal activity?
Yeah, well, yeah. If I feel it's a real case, yeah.
And you try to go there at nighttime so that you get more of a reading of what's going on?
Well, you get stuff during the day too, but for whatever reason, there are certain hours of the nighttime and early AM that the spirit becomes more active. If there's something there.
Right, that's what I've heard.
I mean, what the reason why, I don't know, because it's always there. If a place is haunted, it doesn't like it disappears in the daytime.
It's not going to sleep.
No, it's sitting there, you know, wanting to. See, I almost cuss. Okay, but it's okay to cuss on your show, right? I was going to say it wants to shit in your Cheerios no matter day or night. So, pardon my French.
So I lived in LA for like 15 years, and I had a unique experience where I worked in the nightclub industry. So I worked in two places. One was Charlie Chaplin's boarding school that they converted into a nightclub. And then the other one was his actual house. So I worked at both his boarding school, both his house. And the house, you know, I heard a lot of stories of a lot of crazy things happening. I heard a lot of noises, nobody talking, but a lot of creaking, but it also was an old building.
Covers and shit slamming, that kind of stuff.
A little bit. I mean, it wasn't an old building. I heard a lot of creaking when nobody else was there, stuff like that.
Pretty commonly you'll hear footsteps running around. It sounds like somebody running around, you know, stuff like that. Like stuff that wasn't the house settling, like stuff that you knew was.
Right. So I heard a little bit of that stuff. But then again, we all knew it was Charlie Chaplin. So, you know, and then I'd heard before going in there that people had seen things. So, right. You know, I don't, do you go to buildings like that? Like, so if I had told you that and if we were there at the same time, I'd be like, oh, hey, come with me. So do you do stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. There's one, for instance, I'm remodeling an old hospital right now for somebody, a friend of mine. And it's got some creepy stuff that goes on in it. I've heard a lot of stuff in there working, but you know, and there is activity that seems like it's very, very minute or benign or whatever. Like there's no problem there. But if you were to try to communicate with whatever's there with a Ouija board or something like that, it would definitely get more active. Definitely.
Okay, so what do you think about Ouija boards? You know, as like a Christian, you know, that we're told to stay away from them because that can invite spirits into us. Do you think that that's true? And if so, are they following us, or is it just for that moment? Like, if I want to go to a cemetery and like pop out a Ouija board, would I just be freaked out then? Would I be freaked out for like what's your take on that?
You know, the thing is with Ouija boards is for whatever reason, and these are questions that, you know, not only do people want to know the answers to them, but I want to know the answers to them. The only thing that makes sense is that the Ouija board, the reason why the problem is it creates some kind of an attachment almost instantly. Like it's not like getting an audio device and sitting down being like, hey, you know, is there anything there? And my personal opinion is that you use your body as part of the communication device. You touch the planchette and the spirit is actually using your body as part of the tools or
so
the
have
energy.
You not used a Ouija board?
I won't use one, no.
Why?
Oh man, there's a lot of things out there that really would like me to do something like that, because that's what I would consider an invite. And yeah, no, I wouldn't get by with a lot of stuff that most people would or might get by with. But that's my theory on the Ouija board, is that you're using your body, and it's an ancient communication device. The people that Parker Brothers, is that the company? Is like a game company that mass produced it. in recent times. But the guy that actually sold the rights to the game company he was touring Africa, and this shaman or whatever he was, he had a cobra and he put it into a trance and he'd draw certain numbers of letters in the sand, and the cobra would touch its nose on whatever to spell out whatever words the spirit was saying. So, and then they started using boards, and that's a pretty ancient way to communicate with stuff.
Wow, that's that's something. So you're kind of too freaked out to use a Ouija board.
No, I just know that it's an invite. So if there's something upset with you, like these things are, I know that there's stuff that's upset with me because I've irritated a lot of stuff by doing what I do. Anytime that you mess, if there's something out there that thinks it's got somebody, a victim, and you go in and you screw with that and you deter that, that angers these things, and they definitely would like to have a reason for me to give them the legal right to really give me a bad day, you know, so to speak. But yeah, I can't do that. That would be definitely a dangerous thing for me to do.
Wow. So you've done this for 24 years. How does this become monetarily beneficial for you? Did you write books? Tell us a little bit about that.
It doesn't really. That's the thing. That's the thing about it is I haven't made any money off of it. The only thing I've done is I've experienced a lot of incredible things, I guess. And you know, there's a lot of people that I feel that I've or claim that I've helped, you know, that were dealing with something terrible that you know, and it wasn't me that did it, probably, because in the end of it all, you know, you can only give somebody advice. Like if somebody brings something upon themselves, like the TV shows they're always talking about, you know, they're going to figure out what's there. Well, then what, dude? Then if you didn't invite, you know, if somebody invited something into their home, there's nothing you can do. Personally, you got to have them take care of it.
So do you feel like you've ever invited that into your house? Well, I mean,
I did on accident a couple of times when I was learning. Yeah, there's something I invited in that was actually really bad. There's different spirits that are more powerful than others, obviously. And there's something and I didn't know what I was dealing with, and I made the mistake of telling this thing. I worked for Hood River County, which is a county in Oregon, and they had this historic library. Well, they couldn't get anybody to work in there, and the library was haunted one of the most haunted place I've ever documented to date, and it was a freaking library. Go figure, you know. But whatever was there was bad, and I hadn't been there for a couple of days, so I go, hey man, you miss me? Why don't you come over and we'll catch up on, you know, shit. And yeah, that's all I had to say for that thing to follow me back. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an invite. Technically, they'll pull the technical card.
So if you're chasing demons for 24 years, how come you haven't written a book yet?
Well, for one thing, I hate to write. I don't know. Good question. I probably should one of these days, I guess. But everybody in this field writes a book. You know, they all have books, which, I mean, maybe mine's, you know, I don't know, might be interesting. But you know, they all write books. So, you know, there's a lot of things I should have done, I think, or should be doing, but I don't do.
What about how you documented it? Where can we see some of these videos? I know you sent me some footage. Do you have a website that you
I'm on Facebook. I don't really have a website. No, not now. I have, if you Google my name, a bunch of stuff will come up. There's a lot of audio evidence on SoundCloud that has some pretty good ones on there from, you know, different cases over the years. Video wise, there's some interesting video. I've got a lot of video archived. My whole thing is I haven't ever, like I said, looked at this from a marketing standpoint. Which I probably should, because it's all, you know, a non-profit, you know, so.
The nonprofit ghost hunter. Well, no, when I had Google, I've seen a lot of your work. That's why I said you're very accomplished in your field, and people look up to you in it. So, has anybody come that you were in awe of, that was in awe of like you? Like, did anyone reach out to you?
Oh, you mean like individuals that? Yeah,
like people that were just fans.
You're either hated. This is the thing. You're either hated, or there's people that look up to you. And I've had some people that I was really, really honored. You know, I was really it was an honor for them to view me as like, thank you for viewing me as knowing what I'm doing, because you know, some opinions out there that might not. But no, it's give or take. Like there's some people that are in the media. Like there's people that I didn't even know knew who I was that hate me. And it's like, what the heck? You know, it's like, how that dude? It's like that. Yeah, the Hollywood dude. Yeah, he hates you. He hates you. Well, and then I've had celebrities contact me because they had some weird shit going on. So it's, I don't know.
So tell us a little bit about that. What are some of the celebrities that you can mention that had some things and they wanted your assistance?
Let's see, who was it? I don't know. See, I don't know I don't know. Can I talk about that stuff? You know, legally?
I mean, you don't have to go into details. You can just give us like some names and
let me think of
stuff.
some names here. Okay. Pauly Shore was one. He's a cool guy. Who else? And there's a bunch of comedians because that the Comedy Store, is that where they all do their thing? Joe Rogan, all those. Yeah, Pauly Shore's parents own that, and it's definitely haunted. Has a choice reputation, and yeah, there's a lot of them that have talked to me about it.
Wow.
I don't know. There's been more than that. Trying to think of who else. Talked to a lot of celebrities. I've talked to celebrities not just about paranormal, but I've talked to a few. Talked to Matthew McConaughey about paranormal stuff.
What did he have to say?
Just that he's starting this movie about paranormal stuff. He's kind of an interesting guy, you know. Yeah, he at the time he was competing in he competed in these barbecue contests, I guess, and he had this Airstream trailer that he was pulling. But I was a guest on a radio show, and it goes to his camera, and there's just this fucking hair stick. Oh, sorry, I'm really trying not to cuss, but this hair just sticking up out of camera view, and his dude comes up, and it's Matthew McConaughey, and he's all wild-eyed and weird and crazy looking, and talking about this movie he starred in and the paranormal, and yeah. I talked to Ozzy Osbourne, kinda, about it. I talked to Bill Clinton about it.
What did he have to say?
Just the White House was haunted. He actually talked my freaking ear off, believe it or not.
Wow.
He got the biggest kick out of the whole ghost hunting thing, and yeah, he was really fascinated by it. It's a fun guy to talk to. Let's see, there's been a couple more celebrities just over the years.
Well, Chad, you're so fascinating. Where can we follow you and find out the latest things that are going on?
There's always something going on. I always got cases. The one case that the stuff I sent you, that's an ongoing one because it's an interesting spot. You know, once you get a good fishing hole, you keep going back, you know.
So where can we go and see this as like the general public? Where can we go? Just do you always put it on Instagram? Do you always put it on your Facebook page? Where do you put all these occurrences?
That stuff I sent you, that's never been posted before. So I can post that up. I've got a lot of stuff I need to post up, actually.
Well, let's do it because this is super fascinating.
Hey, you have me back on. Well, I'll do it. Be motivation. There you go. Right?
For sure, Chad. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. This was actually really exciting.
Well, I'm glad. This has been fun. It really has.
And yes, we will have you back.
Really? You sure?
Well, it depends what happens between here and now. What crazy stuff comes out.
Yeah, it depends upon like piss somebody off or something. You know? I'm good at that. See, that's how I get all this evidence. Is I piss shit off. Okay, just telling you.
Thank you so much, Chad.
Thank you for having me on your show. It was a pleasure. You can have all